Okay, in thinking about how I'm going to install a coach battery and how I'm going to do this, I looked at other campers, the newer Lance truck campers. You can see under the seating, you have your battery boxes under the seating, and they're vented to the outside. That's what the black hose is. This one has battery access inside of a cabinet, inside of a closet. So I went on Amazon.com and found a battery box. There's another truck camper with the battery boxes vented to the outside, as you can see, the Lance model. So I went online and found some battery boxes. Okay, now this is my power box. My truck camper is not wired for a coach battery, but these are the hookups for the coach battery, because some RVs that use this panel box are. So this is the positive and the negative, and I connected. This was an old jumper cable, and I'm going to change the connectors on the end of it, but I can squeeze two coach batteries in here, and I want to get a plastic battery box to vent it to the outside, and if I have to put the other battery on the other side, I can. Okay, this is a model similar to the one that I purchased. This battery box is that you can see. And I bought a long hose to go with it, a black hose. And so I temporarily tested the system out with a car battery and a pair of jumper cables. And so the original system had the house converter separate. It wasn't fused. It wasn't going through a breaker. So I added a breaker. I went online, found a Bryant breaker, just like the original. I found a breaker. I disconnected the converter and ran it through a new breaker. So that's the new breaker installed. Here is my Jupiter 1000 watt inverter. I got that really cheap on eBay, and I bought all the cable. It's 4 AWG cable, and I bought a crimper system to go with it. That crimps the cable automatically and with a hammer, and so I installed the battery posts on a piece of wood to make it strong. And from there's the battery box and the cable terminals in place. So I went to the working on the wiring and installing the wiring. There are the cables installed on the battery blocks there, as you can see. And I put a fuse right into the battery. Now there's not a battery in there at this point, but that's a fuse. Okay, now those are the places I had previously mentioned that the batteries hook up to. So I ran the cables right into those terminals. You can see and so I bought an external converter. And to use my external converter, it's an IOTA 30 amp converter. I have a rocker switch to turn on the IOTA converter, and the circuit breaker turns off the house converter. So I turn off the house converter in order to turn on the IOTA converter. So I don't run both converters at once. And here is my converter and inverter in place. That is the cheapest battery I could find. That's a AGM battery, 100 amp hour. To start with, that's what I got, and it was a little under $200. There it is installed, and it's installed. And so I drilled a hole in the side of the camper, and there's my black battery vent hose, and I ran it through the bathroom and right out the wall under the cabinet, under the bathroom vanity. And there is my outside vent for my battery. That's what that is. Okay, and there is the system all up and running with the battery, and there's a switch I forgot to mention. It's a switch that can engage the battery or disengage the battery from the house system. So I can separate the battery from the house system with that disengaging switch there. And I have a LED to tell me my battery level. Okay, now for the audio system. This is a Chinese car stereo, unbranded, for $54 on eBay. I was doubtful at first, but it came out that it functions really well. Boss Audio speakers for like $24. And I just got 2 speakers to start with, and I'll get the other 2 later. Okay, now, I've got this is the left speaker wire here, and I've got a little platform in here for the stereo to sit on, and as it's going in there, I've got the wall opened up. The speaker, I'm going to button it back up, and we got the speaker wire running through the wall, running through here, underneath of all the seating, and it comes up here. So the speaker wire's all hidden. I'm going to hook up the left wire and then the right wire, and here is the wiring color code information. And I've got this here, and I'm going to go ahead and hook this into the wiring into the stereo and get it all hooked up, and then I'm going to take the 12 volt lead, 12 volt power cable, run at the same path as the stereo. So again, inside of here, okay, inside of here was their speaker wire. Speakers are installed. I need to solder everything and get some electrical tape, so I'm going to just hook all this up, and I took all this apart to feed the electrical cable through here. So feed the electrical cable through everywhere, and on in here it'll all be buttoned up nice and neat. So I'll catch you on the flip side. Stay tuned. Okay, now there's a shot of my battery compartment, and I'm running power through the seating area, inside the seating area, and through the cabinets to the car stereo. That's the power cable. And I've got my speaker wires. I'm starting to work on the speaker wires. The speaker wires and the power cable. I bought a big roll of speaker wire, and the speaker wires running to the speakers are running from the stereo through the seating, around by the furnace, and through the seating and up through the wall. I pulled the wall apart so I can run the wire into the wall, and I drilled a hole from the wall into the overhead cabinet. And the wire goes from the inside the wall into the overhead cabinet and runs inside the overhead cabinet to the speakers. I have wires ran. Okay, I've got an antenna, and I've got my wiring just with plastic tape. It's got packing tape just temporarily until I get the solder out and do my soldering iron out and get my electrical tape, and I'll do it right. I'm just going to test it right now. And here's my little antenna. So got the wiring pre-wired for all my other. So see, it plugs right in like a car stereo should. Maybe down here is where I'll put my other outlet. I'm going to put in another outlet that's going to be a 12 volt outlet like the one up here. So I just wanted to show this to you. And I've got the stereo here, and so this is a Chinese car stereo, and that's a good idea for a business, an eBay business. You know, you can get so many of them real cheap. You know, if you buy 500 of these radios, you know, you can get them real cheap online, and you can buy your you know, a bunch of car stereos and start you a business, you know, an eBay sales business. So I'm going to put it up on the counter for now to test it and see if it works. Okay, we got the stereo going and the speaker wire running it through here, from there. This is the speakers I haven't gotten yet. Running it through here. I got that torn apart. Cut a hole in this wall here, and it's going to mount underneath of this cabinet. The other one, the wire is here. I ran it through here and opened this up. You see, I tore this up a little bit. Got that a little torn up. I had to find a way to get the wire in here and run it up inside this wall here and through here. So, yeah, that's how I'm doing it. So all this, you know, wiring in the camper for the speakers is all up inside here. There's no exposed wiring that you can see. It's all inside the cabinetry. So I'm going to decide if I'm going to repair this or get another piece. If I get another piece, I can replace it. But either way, and paint it Okay, as you can see, the stereo is in place, hooked up and working and everything. I have an antenna that's inside the cabinet as well, and there's my speakers. And later on, I'm going to put speakers on the other side of the camper above the kitchen. So I'll do that later at a later date.